Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about the counting principle, and the counting principle is a way that you could figure out the total number of outcomes for a given situation. So to give you an example right away, this is a situation where you're going to try to figure out how many outfits you can make from what's in your closet. So a funny story is I had a friend named Cheryl in high school, and she used to use her assignment notebook not for keeping track of her assignments, but for keeping track of which outfits she wore each day. And she did this so she wouldn't wear the same outfit twice throughout the school year. Isn't that ridiculous? I think it's ridiculous. But she had so many clothes in her closet that she never had to repeat an outfit. So that kind of gave me the example for this situation. So what you're going to do is you're going to figure out how many shirts you have in your closet, how many pants, shoes, hats, and belts or scarves. So write the number you think you have of each of those items, and based on the information, I want you to take a guess on how you could figure out the number of outfits you can make. I'm going to teach you how to do that by the end of the video, but I want you guys to see if you guys can come up with a strategy to figure that out. So pause the video, make your calculations, and then enter your answer, and then you can move on in the video. Alright, so one of the ways that you can figure out the number of outcomes of a given situation is to use something called a tree diagram. So this is just one strategy. I'm going to teach you a shortcut later on, but it's very important that you know how to do this tree. So in this situation, it says if each spinner is spun once, how many different outcomes could there be? So pretend these are spinners with little arrows here. So we're going to spin each one, and we want to know how many different outcomes are possible. So for example, if I spin a pink, then I could get a 1. If I spin an orange, I could get a 4. So those are different outcomes. So a way to figure that out is to do it visually. So if you're a visual person, you're going to like this method. So you're going to write down the number of outcomes on the first item. So I have an orange. So I'm going to write O for orange. I have pink. And I have blue. Those are the different outcomes on the first spinner. Okay? Then on the second spinner, I have 5 different outcomes, so I'm going to make like a tree branch off of each one of the first spinner. I'm going to have a 1, I could spin a 2, I could spin a 3, a 4, or a 5. Okay, so just to give you an example, I could spin an orange and a 1, orange and a 2, orange and a 3, orange and a 4, orange and a 5. Okay, so those are the different outcomes, okay? But I could also spin a pink and get a 1, pink and then a 2. Hopefully you're getting the picture here. So you're making a branch for each of the possible outcomes. Okay, and then finally I could roll blue and 1, blue 2, blue 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so there are your trees. So the way to figure out how many different outcomes you have is to count up the second branch. That's really important. You're only going to count what's on the second branch. So let's count them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I have 15 different possible outcomes. So that's your final answer. There are 15 different ways these two spinners can play out. Okay? Alright, so there's the tree. Let's try another example using the tree. So this time we're going to make ice cream sundaes, and we can choose 1 ice cream flavor, 1 sauce, and 1 topping. So how many different sundaes can you make? So we have to pick one of each of these 3 items. So our base, we have either vanilla or chocolate. So that's going to be like my trunk. I could pick vanilla, or I could pick chocolate. Okay, 2 choices. So my choice of sauce, I could get fudge or caramel. So I'm going to do a branch, so I could get vanilla and fudge, and vanilla and caramel, or I could get chocolate and fudge, and then chocolate or caramel. Okay, and this time I have a third option, so I have to do another branch. So I could get vanilla, fudge, and sprinkles, vanilla, fudge, and nuts. Okay, vanilla, caramel, and sprinkles, vanilla, caramel, nuts. So hopefully you're seeing what I'm doing here. Okay, chocolate, fudge, sprinkles, chocolate, fudge, nuts, chocolate, caramel, sprinkles, chocolate, caramel, nuts. Anyone want ice cream after this? I do. All right, so these are listing all of your different possible sundaes, okay, all your different choices. So after you've gone through all of them, you're going to count up that last branch. Okay, so let's count them up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different outcomes. 8 different types of sundaes that you can make from those choices. Alrighty, so that's how you figure out the number of outcomes using a tree diagram. Now, a lot of people don't like this method. If you're a visual person, it might be good for you, but I'm going to teach you a shortcut for the counting principle that I think you might like. Alright, so we're still going to use the counting principle, but as a shortcut, instead of doing the tree, a faster way to do this is to multiply the number of choices for each event to find the outcomes. Now, this is the same concept, it's just a faster way of doing things, okay? So let's take this scenario. We have a spinner, so remember we're going to spin that arrow, and we have a die. So how many different outcomes? So instead of doing the tree, which takes a little bit of time, we can count up the number of outcomes on this spinner and the number of outcomes on this die, and we're going to multiply those together, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different outcomes on the spinner, and on a die we have 6 different sides. So according to the counting principle, I should be able to multiply these two things together, and that's going to give me the number of different outcomes I could get when I do these two things. So 5 times 6, that means I have 30 different outcomes. Isn't that a lot easier than the tree? I think it is. Okay, so hopefully you'll like that method. It's a lot quicker. Okay. All right, next example. You go to the store and you buy 2 types of bread, 3 types of lunch meat, and 2 types of cheese. How many different sandwiches or outcomes are possible? So again, you could do your tree, okay, and show it visually, or you can use the shortcut. So let's think about what we have. We have bread, we have meat, and we have cheese. Okay, so 3 different things. So how many choices of bread do we have? We have 2 different choices of bread. So I'm going to write 2 different choices. How many different lunch meats do I have? I have 3 different lunch meats. So times 3. And then I have 2 different types of meat. Okay, so a number of outcomes from each situation, and we're going to multiply them together. So 2 times 3 is 6. Times 2 is 12 different outcomes, 12 different sandwiches that I can make. Alright, a little easier than the tree. Alright, last one, I'm going to have you pause it and try this one on your own, and then I'll give you the answer once you play it again. So you flip 2 coins and roll a die. So this is why it's really important to read the situation. 2 different coins. So I have a coin and another coin, and then you're going to roll a die. So those are the 3 things that are happening. So I have to figure out the number of outcomes on each thing that I'm flipping or rolling. So on the 2 coins, I have 2 possible outcomes, heads or tails, times 2 different outcomes on this coin, times, it's a regular die, so there's 6 different options on that die. So it's really important to list out how many different outcomes you can get on each, okay? So you're going to multiply them together. 2 times 2 is 4, times 6 is 24 outcomes. Alright, so you choose tree diagram, or you could just do the shortcut by multiplying the number of outcomes on each situation. Alright, there's the counting principle.